India have won the series.
They're going to get back for two. India at home. Lords goes wild.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the 81 All Out podcast. This is your host, Siddhartha Vaidyanathan, and I'm joined by the three regulars on the previews and review segment of our podcast, Mahesh, Ashoka, and Kartikeya. I'll link Mahesh's and Kartikeya's handles on X. I'll link Kartikeya's Substack and his article archive for ESPN Quick Info. We are here today to talk about perhaps one of the most surprising results in my living memory of watching cricket. New Zealand have recently beaten India 3-0 in a three-match test series in India. This has never happened before in a series of 3 games or more. India have never lost 3-0. They have lost 2-0, if I remember right, to South Africa in the 2000. In 2000. Perhaps the only time they lost 2-0, but maybe I'm wrong. But 3-0 is the first time ever that any team has come to India and won that way. I mean, we previewed this series. We reviewed the first test, reviewed the second test, and things just kept getting more bizarre and bizarre and bizarre. I mean, the preview was usual. Needless to say, all of us got it wrong. Yes, we did mention that New Zealand would perhaps have win a lottery on a pitch that favors the spinners and win a game. Ashoka mentioned that Bangalore and Mumbai would perhaps favor their pace bowling and they would win a game. That was partly true. Bangalore did favor them and they did lose a good toss. But other than that, I think things have just gone even more bizarre. After the first test, we felt, okay, that's it. New Zealand have had their fill for the series. Then they win one more. And then we're like, what? Okay, at least, 2 tests. I mean, this is like getting even more bizarre. And then they coolly win the third test. Just a reminder, New Zealand had won just 2 tests in India before in their entire history, like in all their trips back here. So they have already won in 3 weeks. They've already won more than that. And test cricket has been happening for such a long time. And so much of test cricket is, sort of predictable. In fact, there's this famous Ian Chappell line where apparently his grandfather told him, his grandfather was also a cricketer and an Australian captain, told him, never think that there's anything new in cricket. It's always happened before. All right. So just because it's happened now, don't think that it's not happened before. And that's partly true. Yes. I mean, there are like invariable instances where you can say that, this happened once in 1887. This happened once in 1905. But there's also like occasionally some things that come along that you feel has never happened before and will probably take a while before it happens again. And this is one such. And that just is brilliant. It adds to the game. It adds to the fantastic nature of the format and test cricket. And who can begrudge New Zealand this moment of theirs? I mean, Ian Smith was on air during the final moment and had absolutely no hesitation in saying that this was their greatest series win ever. I would even go a step further and say this is the greatest series win ever for any team. I mean, that you could debate that. Of course, there have been other great series wins. Sri Lanka comes to mind. In fact, 2 series of Sri Lanka come to mind. One is when they went and won 2-0 in South Africa pretty recently. Kusal Pereira's the series where Kusal Pereira made that mad 153. But then there was also a series in the 90s where Sri Lanka went to Pakistan and broke Pakistan's home streak. They broke their home dominance, and they did that after losing the first test. So this was in 1995, before their famous World Cup win. They went there, they lost the first test, and then they came back to win 2. And Pakistan hadn't lost a series at home since the early 80s or something. And they did lose that series. That was, I remember, I don't really remember watching that series, but I remember reading reports in the newspaper and being absolutely blown away. Like, how the hell did this team go there? And at that time, Sri Lanka was still on the upswing. So yeah, So there have been series like this that have happened. Recently Bangladesh went and won in Pakistan. They're easily their biggest moment in Test cricket. But yeah, I mean, you just see this and you're like, wow, this is so gloriously absurd, and it's a moment that we won't forget. It's more than anything, it's just so wonderful. I mean, there was a moment in that Mumbai test on the final day when India were chasing. Pant was batting along with Jadeja. Pant was batting beautifully, and New Zealand were bowling really well. The pitch was helping them. Ajaz Patel was like bowling the ball on a penny, and you just pause that moment for a while, and you just take the enormity of what was happening. New Zealand have already won the series. They've already won two tests in the series. In the third test in Mumbai, India are battling to avoid a 3-0 whitewash in an absolutely engrossing phase. Like this, you can't take your eyes off. That's how fascinating that moment was. So yeah, I mean, beautiful, beautiful game, great result for New Zealand, and something we'll never forget. Mahesh, thoughts before we come to your man? First thoughts.
I think it was a fantastic series win for New Zealand. And I'm really, really happy for them. But it's also, I mean, we've been talking about the home advantage and this extraordinary record of this Indian team at home for so long. We almost took it for granted. We thought, okay, they prepare a certain kind of pitch. They had the extraordinary resources in the form of Ashwin and Jadeja. How could they possibly lose? I mean, they could. The fact that they were gambling by getting such result pitches didn't seem like a gamble at all, because when they were like 10, 15, 20% better, that had such a huge impact in the results that it seemed like it didn't matter. There's just some very early signs of tapering off of the peak from, both on the batting front and perhaps on the bowling front. I'm not even convinced that it is there on the bowling front. Perhaps it's there. To the extent that it might be there, it is not obvious to my eyes at least. It kind of completely pivots the whole equation about what level of gambling, what level of risk taking is involved in preparing such pitches. And the fact that this Indian team got away with it for so long and did not pay the price for it, except for one odd match here or there, is again, like, in fact, I look at this series as a nice way to look back at this extraordinary home stretch. Of course, it could have been a 2-1 series win also, or a 1-2 series loss. But the fact that it's love 3 is actually perfect. That captures the enormity of the achievement of this Indian team as well as the absurdity of the series win. Like all of us, like for instance, when we were doing the preview, my outlier test was this: a test like this, where Ajaz Patel was going to run through the team. Right? I had this in my mind saying, okay, one test they're going to win. And we also talked about the fact that visiting teams are smarter when they come to India now, and they play the right team right away, and they don't go by the brand name and so on. So they were right to play both the left-arm spinners in the last test. I did not expect that to play out the way it did. I mean, I can explain Bangalore, I can explain Bombay, but for the life of me, I can't figure out what happened in Pune. It is an extraordinary series. And also, like, looking at the reactions to the team's loss, sure, 3-love will trigger a lot of strong reactions, especially for a team like India, which is widely followed and extremely popular. But usually there is a particular trend, there is a particular pattern. Oh, these people are money minded, IPL. They're not, they're too old. They've lost their skills. They're superstars. But the diversity of failures ensure that there's no one reason. Okay, IPL stars, Sarfraz is a domestic giant. He plays primarily Ranji Trophy. Okay, all these oldies failed. That's not true. Even the youngsters failed. And then, these people do not trust their defense. In fact, you can accuse Kohli of trusting his defense too much, right? He just backed his defense to come through, and that didn't work. Then Rohit Sharma did the opposite. Said, okay, the ball is going to start turning square the moment spinners come on. Let me try and maximize my scoring ability against the fast bowlers where it's relatively easier to score. That didn't work. Pretty much everything that they thought could be the solution, they tried it and it didn't work. It just didn't work, right? And even in terms of bowling, right, you can argue that Ashwin is one of the greatest bowlers of all time and Jadeja is as good as it gets at home. But it is entirely possible that in a given set of conditions, against a particular team with perhaps better suited resources for those conditions, it's possible that even with really great bowlers, you're going to come up short. And of course, we didn't have Shami and Umesh and all that. So that this also undermines or rather underlines the fact that the pace attack was so important for this Indian home stretch win. It's not just Jadeja and Ashwin, but the kind of pace battery that we had to run through sides when the spinners were not effective also underlines the fact that we missed that those skills as well. But overall, it was a fascinating test series. Forget the fact that India lost. All three tests were so wonderful to watch. It was so dramatic. Even if India won all three tests by let's say by some strokes of luck, at least two tests they could have won with some strokes of luck, it would have still been an as exciting a series as it turned out to be.
I mean, in an alternative dimension, right? We would be sitting here at the end of the series. New Zealand would have set India 140 odd to win. India would have won with, like, say, after losing 6 wickets or something. And then India would have won the previous 2 tests. And we would have said, hats off to New Zealand. The way they played in that third test, the way they fought, they came so close to winning. Ajaz Patel taking these wickets. That's like the alternate sort of review that would have happened. But not only did they win the third test, they won the first 2. And look at this. Henry wins them. Henry, stars in the first test, doesn't play in the second. Santner comes in the second, gets 13 wickets. Santner then gets injured. Ajaz Patel then comes and tells, what is happening? This is like India's tour to Australia, multiplied by N, man. I'm talking about the Australia tour where all Indians started getting injured and won the series. So what is going on over here?
Kane Williamson didn't play, and the best batsman of the series
didn't even play. And then Tom Latham comes at the end of the series and acts like he actually lost the series. His face is like impassive. Nothing going on over there.
I'm disappointed he said that there was not too much of a difference between the way they played in Sri Lanka and here. He should have said, in Sri Lanka, we had poor captain, poor leadership. I came and turned the ship around.
I turned the ship around. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, that's actually a really valid point. He made that point in the press conference where he immediately, when asked about the Sri Lanka series and the difference between Sri Lanka and here, he immediately, without any sort of hesitation, said there's not much of a difference. I mean, we didn't play as badly as people thought we did in Sri Lanka. We had a few, strokes of fortune not going our way. And here it was the reverse. And, it's obvious that within a span of few weeks, suddenly players don't become giants and suddenly they don't become pathetic. They're all pretty much the same. Yes, the captaincy changed, but otherwise the players were the same. Will O'Rourke played there, he played here. Everyone, all the players who were there were pretty much here. So yeah, I think that's a very sort of grounded point that he made at the end, and hats off to him to make it at his highest moment as a cricketer. Ashoka, I think now is the time to bring in the alternative dimension.
Look, see, I am a monotheist. Okay, I don't know about you guys, and I only worship one God, which is entertainment. What is entertaining is what I actually observe. So you guys talk about all this cricket nonsense. Okay, great. Cricket is amazing. I don't disagree at all. All 3 tests, every single session was entertaining. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better advertisement for test cricket if you designed it. This is how it will be. Bangalore, Pune and Mumbai. Every session was superb. Of course, there will be people who are disappointed that tests don't go 5 days, but whatever distance it goes, it is intense, right? And therefore, great. But that is where you guys stop and you guys talk about the cricket. But my God, the God of entertainment, forces me to look deeper because that is where the real stuff is. When the match ends, and especially if a match ends with India losing, and this is a home series loss after 12 years. So that is when I wake up. I go to the kitchen, I take a plate, I put on all the Deepavali sweets, I come back, I sit, and then I open my social media accounts. And then I see what's happened. And it is a work of art. if you go to a film festival, there is like a best film in action, best film in romance and all, right? Like, there is genres of cricket hate. The first is the nostalgia genre. Like in my generation, when Gavaskar played with soft hands, when Sachin Tendulkar batted for 73,000 hours and Australian couldn't breach the wall of Rahul Dravid.
You don't need to go so far. In my day, when Pujara and
it always starts with Gavaskar, as if CK Naidu and all.
No, when you start talking about Pujara,
bothers.
that's when you have to say nostalgia was better in my days.
So it starts with Gavaskar and then comes down to what did we do? What did we do to lose Pujara and Rahane? Quietly bundling in Rahane within Pujara. As if Rahane. Yeah, so that is a nostalgia genre. That is the first genre. Then is like complete insanity, like lack of functioning brain cells genre, which is where all your fan wars are fought. Like Kohli fans, Kohli FC will fight Rohit FC. Because of this guy, we lost, our guy lost captaincy, and in our captain's era, we were like invincibles. Now we are losing tests. Then Rohit Sharma fan club will say, he's so unlucky. He just gave India the World Cup. Now they are, stoning him to death. These two shall pass kind of thing. And unrelatedly, Dhoni, Tala sons will come in. In our days of Tale, they will start
when they lost 8-0.
Then these two Kohli fans and Rohit fans will stop fighting and then they'll defend collectively against Tala. Meanwhile, from one small corner, KL Rahul fans will start peeping up. In the last 10 innings, KL Rahul made 339.
That is me.
So they will start.
That is me. Yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of insanity will go on. And unrelated to this insanity, there will be another insanity.
Ruturaj Gaikwad fan.
Yes, exactly. Unrelated to all this, the next gen has started. Prince versus Sloturaj. Gill left a ball, it seems. It hit the stumps. He misjudged one. He got bowled. Right? Ruturaj will never do this. And so that kind of insight. So this genre is like a lack of functional brain cells. Like that is the second genre. The third genre is foreign opinion. Like Pakistanis will jump. One Sri Lankan mad fan called Daniel Alexander will jump. Team 36, Team 46. That kind of insanity will go. And these troops will again be deployed to defend against that. And then you'll have your Michael Vaughan coming in with your troll tweets and all that. So all this. And then the fourth genre that I have now discovered is social justice. Indian team has high caste people. Why don't you give Surya Kumar Yadav? So this is oppression. I'm like, what is this new angle this is coming in? And then
that angle.
That angle will be, flavored with feminism. Like Indian women never lost a test at home in the last 18 years. In the last 18 days, men lost 3 tests. So that kind of fight will go on. I mean, then again, troops will be deployed to handle that. That is where my cricket watching experience is enriched. Not by Bumrah Yorker to dismiss Ollie Pope. This and all, like, come on, man. This is boring stuff. The main stuff is what insane people do.
You haven't even spoken about switching on the television yet. That is not something you do, is it?
No, I don't.
The TV news.
No. I get it. I get the source. I mean, I get the stuff like raw stuff, high quality stuff from the source, from insane people. By the time it comes filtered like to Vikrant Gupta and all, right? Like Vikrant Gupta will shout, what happened in 2021 behind closed doors? Can someone tell me? Some nonsense he will cover.
And also now I think Kohli's sort of being in London has become a big thing. People are calling him an Englishman.
Yeah. It so happens that
you forgot 2 other important genres. The corporate accountability walas. Like, where is the accountability?
LinkedIn posts.
Where is the accountability?
Agree ? You'll end every post, whatever nonsense you say, agree ?
And the other one, which is my favorite, the reasonable outragers. They're like, it's okay to lose a cricket match. It's okay to lose in sports. But to have this amount of money and still lose love 3, how is it acceptable?
That is, these are all couched under nostalgia, man. In our days, people took only 5 rupees salary for 50 years and then they bowl
No,
50
this is
overs.
the as Amit Turma would call it, the Kim Kardashian liberals. They say something and immediately follow it by but. Like, it's okay to lose a match. It's absolutely fine to lose a test series. But how can they lose it this badly?
And then there is the heads must roll merchants.
Heads must roll.
No, that is a corporate accountability. Right?
That again is all these guys only. So see, for me, this has been the most interesting part of this test series. Not New Zealand historically winning, because nobody's talking about New Zealand. See, that is one thing. The broadcasters are not talking about New Zealand's historic win. Some Ian Smith and Simon Dool, they are there for token pieces to say, okay, it's okay, guys. You guys can still lose, but Virat Kohli is still a great batsman. Rohit Sharma is still a great leader. This is their hour of like momentous triumph. They should be like shouting and yelling. But they are consoling us. It's okay, guys. It happens. In life, it happens. You lose once in a while. Then nobody is talking about New Zealand's achievement, man. Even New Zealanders are not doing it. I saw some few tweets. One, their calm tweet from their prime minister, and some MP who's just put a screenshot of his TV. He's watching it in the dead of the night or something. That's all. Nothing, no drama, nothing. They just won 3-0 in India, which no team even dreams of doing it anymore. Like it's understood that if you go to India, you now talk about how can you soften the blow of loss? That's all the discussion is about. But these guys win 3-0, nothing. So this is what I've been doing the last 2 days of.
So you've had your fill. I think it's been.
It has been. This is my Diwali, man. I don't know about everybody else's Diwali. My Diwali has been like blockbuster. Everyone's insane outrage, mental outrage is like source of my entertainment. I've been happy. Reasons for India losing are quite apparent, and they are, this was something that we have been talking about. I mean, the players are aging, and then there's probably some tapering off of, skills. And this word transition period has been going on for a while now, but that is true. The real transition is happened. A lot of it has happened. Like Indian bowling attack is not just Ashwin and Jadeja. It is also Mohammad Shami. It is also Ishant Sharma. It is also Umesh Yadav, who for a period of time under Kohli, they were the best pacers India has ever produced. Actually, you can go to Stats Guru and check. Outside of Kapil Dev, these three guys have been like amazing the last 7-8 years. So they have gone, and quality like that is hard to replace. You can't have one Jasprit Bumrah and Ashwin Jadeja and say, we will roll over everybody. They did that for a while, but you need, support acts as well. And that again, now replacement for Ashwin and Jadeja, Aksar is there, Kuldeep is there. But the point is Aksar and Kuldeep don't play regularly, man. I mean, they have to play regularly for them to, at least have that kind of an experience where they can problem solve, because spin in India is not straightforward. You don't just turn up, bowl, and then you get a fifer. That's not what happens in Indian conditions. So these guys, Ashwin and Jadeja, the longer they stay there, the longer these two guys are kept out. So they have a problem.
Good couched way of saying heads must roll.
But that is true, no? I mean, it will happen, right? Like Ashwin is 38, Jadeja is 35, these two guys are 36, 35, no? So they will go.
When we spoke about the England series earlier this year, we did say that, after the Hyderabad test specifically, we did say that, the decline will happen gradually. I mean, it's not like suddenly the Indian team is going to, lose everything, though they did lose everything in this series. But we did say that we did predict the decline, and we did see things happening. Then Bangladesh, actually, when we previewed Bangladesh series, we said that Bangladesh could easily pull off a test. They had the sort of the spinners to do that. And I think this series, had Bangladesh won a test, for instance, which is not completely unbelievable at all with that team and with the conditions and everything. Had they won a test, then this New Zealand series result may not have been as coming as out of the blue. Then probably we would have said, okay, India lost the test to Bangladesh. Maybe there was a good fight in the second test. Then maybe we could have seen this coming. But I think the fact that Kanpur happened when India pulled off that win in 2 days, and the fact that New Zealand lost so heavily in that one test against Sri Lanka, not the first test, but the second test, I think that sort of put the expectation at a certain level, and then this felt quite, completely new. But I'm just saying that there is a bit of recency bias there too in our sort of expectations for this series. Though India losing a test at home has generally been a surprise over the last many years. KD, now that Ashoka has finished his dimension, please bring in your dimension.
What dimension? He's given like a grand tour of. Like,
I'm giving the corporate spiel. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to sort of keep track of all the things Ashoka has mapped. All the different types of reactions and all that. And really, I learn more about how people discuss cricket from Ashoka than I do like anywhere else. Because really, I mean now though, not only Twitter, he's gone on to Reddit now, and like he's now the king of Reddit or something.
No,
He's in
man,
the
the
dark
next
web.
cricket thing
Dark
is
web.
YouTube. The next cricket thing is YouTube.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. All young people go on YouTube and start, talking about
But
the game.
that's old, no? Like Vase and Iffy have been doing that for years.
No. Vase and Iffy is one flavor, but
Yeah.
there are other flavors of discussion. Like whatever I join. I mean, Vase and Iffy are like, they are like the Led Zeppelin of cricket discourse, man. Like this can't be replicated anymore. This is just like an iconic thing that is there. You cannot approach it.
I think I'm going to send this to them and say that I think this is the biggest compliment you've received. Take it.
No, they are original, man. You cannot do Vase Fi. If you do Vase Fi, everybody will realize, okay, you're doing a copy of Vase Fi. That is the original template, and it can only be done by them.
Yes, but Kartikeya, go on.
Okay, so how should I put it? I mean, basically, the story of all three tests is the same, although the sort of the specifics are vary. And in all three tests, New Zealand gained an advantage in the first 2 or 3 hours, which India could not overcome as the conditions deteriorated. And in Bangalore, they deteriorated towards the batting, and they became flatter. And in Pune and Bombay, the conditions deteriorated in favor of spin. I think the decline stuff is overdone. I think this is still a very great Indian team, and they did play well. For instance, I'll tell you. If you've been listening and regularly and reading what I write, you're probably familiar with this. But when you consider fall shots, since 2011, there have been 469 outright results in Test cricket. And of those 469 Test results, 406 have been won by the team which produced a better runs per fall shot in the match than their opponent. So 87%, 406 out of 469. And in both Pune and Mumbai, India had a better runs per fall shot than New Zealand, and they still lost. And this is not true of India's loss to England in 2012-13. So in other words, in Bombay and Eden Gardens in 2012, England were not luckier than India. They were simply better. They created more jeopardy with the ball, and that translated into more into a win for them. Whereas New Zealand were not better than India in Pune or Mumbai. They were luckier than India in Pune and Mumbai. Now, this is clearly not a satisfactory explanation, but it is a cricket explanation at least, I think. I mean, so I looked at
Kartikeya, you need to just explain this. So, if you score more runs per fall shot,
yeah. So
aren't you also lucky?
It's like this. See, a false shot may result in a dismissal, but doesn't have to, right? So the conversion rate of false shots to dismissal is in some sense a measure of efficiency. In another sense, it's a measure of luck. So Jasprit Bumrah in the World Test Championship final, he induced 55 false shots without getting a wicket, and then the average is about 10 per wicket, right? So and the point is here's the important thing, right? The people say, well, he must have done something weird in that match which he didn't do in any other match. Okay, fine, let's take that hypothesis, but how likely is that? How likely is it that he did something weird in that one match and so therefore he didn't get any wickets in that match, but in all these other matches, in 37 out of his other 40 matches, he keeps getting wickets and he gets a lot of wickets? So the idea is that, but then there's also a trade-off, no, which is that some if you attack more, you're going to play false shots more often, because an attacking shot requires you to take a bigger risk, so then what you want is a trade-off, right? Because you want to score runs, so you have to attack. On the other hand, defending means you will survive more false shots. So runs per false shot is one measurement which sort of captures how well that trade-off is working out for you. So for instance, in the Pune Test match, India were dismissed for 116 false shots. 20 Indian wickets fell for 116 false shots, and 20 New Zealand wickets fell for 180 false shots. So where in Bombay it was a little less. It was 169 for New Zealand and 113 for India. But still, 113 and 116 are unusually low for India. Usually they won't lose 20 wickets for.
What is the average fall shots to take 10 wickets?
An average return for them.
Yeah. No, average returns. How many fall shots on average for a wicket?
10 between 10 and 11.
So this one has like 5 fall shots, they got a wicket.
Just under 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas New Zealand are like 9 and 10. Now, there is some.
And usually when India win at home, like in this streak, usually it's been the reverse, is it? Usually it's India that.
Yeah, 52 out of 57 outright results in India since 2011, since that 2012 England, counting that 2012 England series. So 52 out of 57 results have gone for the team which had a better runs per false shot ratio. So in India, it's about 91%.
Right? Okay, that's a big sample. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, KD, I always wanted to ask, in the last pod, we were saying that Indian bowlers were bowling a bit faster to prevent sweeping and reverse sweeping. So that also meant that the fielders were out in the boundary, right? So even if you manage to sweep or reverse sweep that quick ball, you're not going to get great returns. You're going to get just a single. So that idea made sense. But in Mumbai, this was in Pune that they did this. In Mumbai, they bowled slower, but the field was still out. But isn't the idea that you bowl slower, entice the batsman to hit, and then
but that's because India are behind in the game. No, the New Zealand lost their last 17 wickets for 250 runs in Bombay, and for 317 runs in Pune. But in Pune, they had scored nearly 200 runs. They were 197 for 3 in the first innings, and in Bombay they were 159 for 3. So those 197, 159, that's a lot of runs to overcome when once the pitch starts turning and once the pitch starts breaking. And we can see from the record of how much it's turning and how much the uneven bounce is from the ball tracking, that it did get progressively worse, and once it got worse, both sides were not able to score, so I mean, if you want sort of as far as the evidence suggests, I don't think this is, I mean, these are not India are not playing badly. Yeah.
Is it fair to then say that India actually missed, good the typical fast bowling that would give them the wickets early on? Like Bumrah's the two tests that he played. I mean, largely not the Bumrah that we know, and Akashdeep was good, but then Shami wasn't around, and all the other bowlers are not there. Siraj also didn't have a particularly great series. So is that a fair assessment?
Well, perhaps, but I mean, it's not like there was a lot in the pitch for the fast bowlers in Pune and Bombay in the first day. I mean, so there was very little sea movement. I mean, compared, I looked at it. I mean, there's not much sea movement for either Akashdeep.
I mean, Akashdeep did beat the bat a few times early on in Bombay.
0.64 degrees average sea movement. That's like a flat pitch.
Kartikeya, are you saying a 3-love drubbing at home is a victimless crime? Really?
It's not a crime at all, man. Come on.
What are you saying?
What are you talking about? Did I not speak 20 minutes now on what's happening in the world?
The most populous country in the world. And cricket is the
losing
most
our minds,
popular sport. It's the one common religion we have.
The serious, if you're interested in what happened, then the question is, well, are they playing? Did they lose because they're playing badly, or did they lose because they're unlucky? That's really the question, no? And the evidence suggests that it's the latter. So I mean, beyond that, on the margins, you could argue, maybe they should have had someone like KL Rahul who would try to survive on this pitch rather than try to hit the bowlers of them.
Or Axar instead of Siraj, you can get 20 runs.
But what? I mean, that's neither here nor there. I mean, that is a curiosity as to why they are preferring to play two fast bowlers. That is worth. But perhaps they should have played 4 spinners in both Pune and Bombay, and that it might have gone better for them. But I don't know, 3 spinners.
In a series of such small margins, your young upcoming batsman gets out to a full toss. The greatest batsman of this generation gets out to a full toss earlier in the series. He gets run out. Pant gets run out. The captain makes terrible calls. And he apologizes for making terrible calls. He doesn't read the pitch. He picks the wrong team. And then when he's batting, he bats like he's batting in T20. And he doesn't even have the strokes. I mean, there has to be some shame.
Yeah, but
where is the shame?
There would have been
question.
There would have been series when India won 3-0 when all this might have likely happened also.
I mean, India won in Australia. They were equally lucky, man.
That's okay. You had the license to say whatever you want then, right? We listened to whatever you said. I mean, Rohit Sharma, without thinking anything about this, walks up to the podium after winning the T20 World Cup final and said, we showed how we performed under pressure. Right? Like Hardik Pandya had the luckiest delivery of his life. He bowled a wide one. And,
that was not a lucky delivery. Huh? That was, I have seen the data on that. The wide,
the Klassen.
Yeah, the wide good length change up is an effective ball, especially against a batter who sets up like Klassen. Because
didn't Ganju talk about it in our podcast?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, in T20, it's a pretty common ploy. It's a variant on the slow bouncer.
But that full toss to David Miller was lucky, man. Like 10 centimeters that side, it's a 6.
Of course, it's a very noisy contest, man.
Then he will point out that was actually a 6 also. But that is a different story for another day.
That is another genre of conspiracy theory.
Thank you for reminding me of Rohit Sharma. Okay, now Rohit Sharma honestly, no. This is I'm not trolling. I think I'm. I feel Rohit Sharma is thinking he's walking in to play T20 every time, man. Like, what is this? Like, every ball he has to hit out of the ground or what? But he was
No,
playing beautifully. He was playing a beautiful Test cricket for a while.
No, I don't think. Okay, I'm not convinced. I know Katie brought this point up in the last episode, and I think he has a point. But I'm not convinced that it's because, like in ODIs and T20s, there's absolutely no doubt that he's completely bought into this vision of front loading and being more efficient up front and so on. But I don't think that's why he's playing this way in Test cricket. What he's doing is on square turners, your best bet of scoring easy, quick runs is against the fast bowler. And it just so happens, he's trying that at a time when he's not playing particularly well. I mean, he did the same thing against England in Chennai, if you remember. He realized the ball was going to turn a lot, and he started attacking the fast bowlers right away. And when the spinners came on, he started sweeping them quite a lot. I mean, it was the same template that worked beautifully for him, and he's been doing that. To be honest, he's like in Test cricket, especially after he started opening, he's willing to change his game based on the conditions and based on the bowling attack. And most batsmen do that, but he does it to a much greater extent than other batsmen. And that's exactly what he's trying to do here.
You have one of the best players of spin that India have produced. You have a guy who can serenely in his rhythm, like play without needing this urgency, right? I don't think he needs to. Like,
But come on, this whole business of a great player of spin bowling. Come on, there are no great players on spin bowling on this pitch, man. It's a complete misnomer. Nobody is a great player of spin bowling on this pitch. People talk about Gavaskar 96 Bangalore.
No, not.
He was out 3 times before he got to 20 in that pitch, man. I mean, DRS would have finished him that innings. Come on, that's not. This is. I mean, why is there this constant obsession with erasing uncertainty, man? Because the
he's
problem
a better player of he's a better player of spin bowling than most in the team, right?
Yeah, but what's the difference? I mean, they're all pretty good, yeah. Come on.
No, but I don't think.
But that doesn't. When you don't know whether the ball is going to turn 4 degrees or 1 degree, there is no great player of spin bowling. You can't react quickly enough for that. So that's the bottom line. So then you have to find some way of overcoming that uncertainty. You can trust your hands, but if you trust your hands, then you're mostly reaching for the ball a lot more, and that means you're exposing both the edges of the bat, because again, you don't know how much it's going to turn. You can trust your shape and defend your stumps, but then again, you won't score any runs. This is what Rahane and Pujara and all these people used to do, and now everyone is saying, "Oh, let's get them back," but they were gunning for those people, man, 2 years ago. Come on. So you can do that, but that has its own. Every method, the whole point of the ball turning a lot is that it gives the batter very few good options. So I mean, Devon Conway's luck turned. Especially once the pitch started doing a lot. Rachin Ravindra's luck turned once the pitch started doing that. It's not that his forward defense magically became worse after that 91 because he became overconfident or cocky or something. It's not like that, man. Come on, man. This urge to
listen. This partnership between Gill and Pant, okay?
Yeah.
It's in this Test match, and especially Gill. Gill was going at what, like a strike rate of 60, man.
Gill survived 26 false shots in 140 balls or something like that. Come on.
Dude, yeah.
No, the only batters who played well are basically left-handers for whom the threat was much lesser against Ajaz. So both Jaiswal and Pant were comfortable. Even Jadeja was not comfortable actually yet. And Pant played exceptionally, even though he had a bit of an advantage of being a left-hander. He still played exceptionally. But the point is, the way he got out. If you remember, he actually walks around the wicket of another ball earlier and he puts his leg there. And commentators are praising him, saying he's not taking any chance. He's just ensuring that the ball doesn't go past him, which is actually correct, right? That's exactly what he did again but the ball still finds a way to get an edge, right?
Yeah, because he doesn't know how much it's going to turn. No, he's guessing, and he can't trust how much it's going to turn. That's the point. So this all bullshit, man. This whole thing about who is this so and so is a great player. Nobody is a great player of spin bowling when it's turning so much. Everybody gets out more frequently. That's the whole point of the ball turning. It's also the whole point of the ball seaming. My only point here is that there is a lot of uncertainty in all these things, and sometimes it goes against you. And in both Pune and Bombay, it went against us, against India. It went against India because they lost the toss, and second, none of their batters had enough luck to last 30 or 40 false shots.
Yeah, but just so that it's not misconstrued, when we are saying luck, it's not that New Zealand was lucky and India were unlucky. That's why the series results went.
I'll tell you what luck means. I'll give you a very simple thing. Luck means that if you play for a certain amount of turn, it doesn't turn a certain different amount such that it takes the edge. All other things happen. It hits the middle of the bat, it misses the bat, it hits your pad harmlessly. All other things happen, but it doesn't hit the edge and go to hand. That is luck.
No, but that's the thing, right? With the same, let's say, distribution of luck, this Indian team could have still won against many other teams, or even a different New Zealand team.
They could have won against this New Zealand. I don't. If you play these test matches over again, I think India would win all three of them.
No, that is true. But on this set of three matches, the fact that New Zealand won is because they had a team which could take it to parity against this Indian team.
And New Zealand are a good team. I mean, that's the thing we've been saying all along, that all these batting lineups are pretty good, man. Now, suddenly people have discovered, that, New Zealand have a new player called Young who's quite good. I mean, they're all quite good there. I mean, they're not stupid. Nobody gets into the test team because they're stupid. They're all very good players.
Young was particularly good against spin. I was,
he was luckier than average, man. Come on. They're all good. True. Everybody. Rachin Ravindra played exactly equally well in Bombay as he did in Bangalore and Pune, even though he didn't make any runs in Bombay. They're all good players who are.
Yeah, they also came with. They also obviously the trend of left arm spinners troubling India has been a long one. So and they also had
trouble everybody, man. Look at Jadeja's record, man.
Yeah, so they also had those two in their lineup. Ajaz, of course,
and they also had a seamer who could exploit the conditions in the first morning in Bangalore. I mean, imagine you had a Sri Lanka team, right? You have a seamer, but not as good as Matt Henry. India would have been 40
or
for
Tim Saudi or
No, I'm saying against another team where the seamers are not as good. Yeah. India would have been 20 for 3, 30 for 3. And they would have recovered.
I mean, it did happen, right? It did happen against Bangladesh and Chennai. The conditions were not as extreme as Bangalore. Yeah. But Bangladesh did get good bowling conditions in Chennai, got 6 wickets, but then couldn't get the lower order in time.
Yeah, that's the difference, right? Between Steve O'Keefe and Kuhneman and Hartley, the difference with this New Zealand team is that they covered all the bases with very good resources. I mean, Santner, you can say, lucked out of the match of his life, but Ajaz was always going to do it. And if you got a pitch like that, Henry, Saudi, one of them was capable of running through this Indian team.
Yeah.
And their batting has all-round depth. So, I mean, when we say luck, what we mean is that the result could have so easily turned in India's favor, but with any other team, even with this amount of luck, that team would not have been able to win the series, let alone 3-0. That's because New Zealand brought a very
that depends on how much luck there is. I mean, you could have a once in a lifetime thing where.
No, that's fine. But baseball, for instance, I don't think that England side would have won given the same distribution of luck.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, baseball, England had more basic problems. It's like, Ben Stokes was not bowling, and then James Anderson was bowling very little. And so they had problems of balance, which New Zealand didn't have. New Zealand were always able to play enough batting, enough spin bowling, enough fast bowling.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
I mean, but the point is that teams like England are rare, in Test cricket nowadays. This is not like India going to England in 1974 with Eknath Solkar and Sunil Gavaskar opening the bowling for them, or Madan Lal opening the bowling for them. and playing 3 spinners on a green top. This is not like that. No team comes to India like that anymore. All right, you can say that, South Africa, when they come after Keshav Maharaj, they don't really have a good second spinner. And like, they don't really have they don't even have an accurate second spinner, like, Santner or someone like that. Because, and you can say that, and South Africa has suffered in India because of that recently. But, those are like, they're like maybe one player short, one.
Now they have that Dane Pete. No, he's.
He was there. He came to India, no?
He got smashed by Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
He's like Dom Best, man. He's not that accurate.
No. The thing is that is there a possibility that Rohit Sharma basically, as a captain, as somebody who has set the sort of the way in which they play cricket in ODIs and T20s, is it possible that he's taking it upon himself to sort of move the scoring rate along? So to sort of, partly of course, to make the most of the scoring, scoring with the new ball and clearing the field. That I'm not disagreeing at all. But is it also a possibility that he's doing it to set a template?
Well, perhaps, but that's still a reasonable thing. No, he's taking a chance.
He is, of course, he is. But is he? The question that I keep asking is he? Does he have to take that chance to come out of down the track and hit Henry over? I mean, these are the questions I'm asking. That's all.
I mean, he doesn't have to. I mean, you're referring to that Bangalore first innings dismissal, right?
No. This one, when he came
Mumbai,
out of Mumbai second innings, when he hit Henry first over for coming down the track, and then after that he tries again to.
He tries to pull a ball. He tries to pull a ball.
Yeah, and it gets big on him. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
the indifferent bounce will do that. No, it will throw the timing off. It's fine. What should he do? Not hit at all, or what? I mean, or what? Or like magically find the one sort of sequence of judgments which sort of gets him through unscathed to like 100 ball 70.
I mean, 143 is like a 180 run partnership, man. I mean, that is the game.
Yeah, but that's not. So, I mean, they don't really go for 80 run partnerships. No, the point. Partnerships occur, they emerge after the fact. Nobody sets out that, okay, we are going to add 80 here. That's not how it works. No, they're going to say, well, let's try to play this over. Let's try to play the next over. That's how it works. No.
Yeah, that's true. But there's also a way in which you bat in the first innings with on the first day, and the way in which you chase 143. There's possibly a difference there, right?
Perhaps, but how much? I mean, it's still a function of how much it's turning and how much it's how indifferent the bounce is and all that. No, I mean, you still have to survive one ball at a time. No, you still have to make the correct.
But KD, with your own calculation, 10 false shots per batter, so that's like it gives you 100 false shots, right? So in that 100 false shots, you have to score 143 runs.
Yeah, but you don't always get 100 false shots. Now, what if you get out to your first or second?
Yeah, but I'm saying as an average. That's all. I mean,
but that's the point. No, on average, they didn't get the average amount of luck that they usually get. Now, you can say, okay, well, they could have this. You have to get over this urge to say that, well, they did X wrong and that's why they lost. These are test players, man. Do we really think that we are going to identify such things if they exist where they can't?
No. I'm just talking about Rohit Sharma's trade-off that he has made between scoring,
I don't know,
say 20 runs in. Okay, this is.
I don't think it's a good look. I don't think it's a good trade-off that he's doing. But that's a marginal thing. I don't necessarily think that. And I think it's also in his case it's a much more recent trade-off. I mean, in 2021 he wasn't playing like this. it's very much a trade-off he's done. In actually, even against England, he wasn't really playing like this. This whole thing has started like in the last 3 or 4 months.
Bangladesh, I think, was the start. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a point to that. No, I mean the whole that.
Yeah. That they had
Kanpur-
no time. Yeah.
Kanpur, yeah.
No, I mean, let me bring in one point which was there in the control of the captain and the coach, which is the way they lay out the type of pitch for a match before the match. They can insist, no. So
Yeah, but they can insist, but that doesn't mean you have to still be able to prepare that. No, it's not. It's not a question of like it doesn't take like you. It takes time to prepare these pitches, and there's rain in Bombay until like very in the second half of October this year. So and like serious rain, not just altu faltu rain.
Yeah, actually
So-
speaking, Ashoka, you made it you brought in that point in a joking way about November in India, but it's actually true that November in India can be a really dicey time. You have rains, you have a lot of things going on weather-wise, and Bangalore, for instance, had that test match been in say February, you would have had totally different conditions.
True,
November in
but
India,
see-
October, November can be a bit of a lottery in terms of weather in different parts of the country. Yeah.
see, I've seen Mumbai pitches where which turned and the match ended in like 3 days, which is like that Australian test where Murli Karthik and all. Michael Clark gets a fiver, I think. And
6 for 9.
6 for, sorry. Yeah. I've seen that kind of test. I've also seen tests where, matches go till day 4 and then end. And I've also seen tests where Peterson and Clark hammer the life out of bowlers and nothing much is happening. So I don't think, it is unreasonable to assume that these guys ask for a specific kind of pitch or a specific behavior from that pitch. And, that is a risky approach because you are then saying either A, I am depending on winning the toss, which is not in your control, or even if I lose the toss and bat second, I'll make a bigger score so that I don't have to bat last. It'll be such a big lead. I'll get such a big lead that within that lead, I can bundle New Zealand or the opposition out twice. So this is the kind of hedge you're doing when you're asking this kind of a pitch, like when you say in Pune or Mumbai. Then, then what is your what is your thought process? Like you're saying, like our batters can do this
Yeah.
amount of runs.
But that's a good point. No, I mean, because you're basically referring to the whole doctored pitch thing, no, Ashoka?
Doctored in the sense all pitches are doctored to give some team some advantage unless there is some neutral body.
But doctored means it's designed to help one team and not help the other.
The said one team is the home team. Let's say like that, like
Yeah.
what Pakistan did with that giant fans and all.
Yeah, but that's still not a doctored pitch. No, that's a pitch which is going to help spin. Now, if England had good spinners, then England would win there. No, that's the point. No, you can't stop the other side from picking, useful players. No, so this is why for a decade
True.
India made it look like these pitches are doctored because they were that much better than the opposition.
No, I'm not disagreeing with all that. I'm just before coming to the pod, I was reading what Monga has written, where he's also referred to your Substack. So what in that? He has, and then he makes a case where that there are he differentiates pitches as 2 types of pitches where all spinners involved in that pitch average less than 24 or average greater than 24. So there are 2 classifications. So in lesser than 24 kind of pitches, Indian spinners average like around 16, whereas the foreign spinners average around 22. But in the greater than 24 bunch, Indian spinners average like 26 per wicket. But the visiting spinners average like around 57. So I'm saying the advantage of having the second kind of pitch is more because Indian spinners have the skill even in conditions which is not like extremely conducive to spin. They have the skill to price wickets out Whereas that's not a skill that is, native to the visiting spinners. But in this kind of thing, no, the margins become so less that the all kinds of probabilities come into play. Where Kartikeya is now saying that India did not necessarily play bad, but you see the scoreline, it's 0-3. So this is entirely possible in this kind of universe. Whereas in that kind of universe, the game plays out over 3-4 days. You then have reverse swing also coming in. Then you are justified in bringing two pace bowlers.
But they have lost that kind of test match also, no? I mean, the first Chennai match of the 2021 England series, they did lose that on a flat.
Correct. Either cases you are betting. I am saying, where will you bet? Where will you rather bet is, as Rohit Sharma and Gautam Gambhir, where would you rather bet? They have bet on this kind of a pool where they are saying, okay, the risk is high, but we can win this.
Whereas but if there's one thing listeners of this podcast should get, is that every decision involves a trade-off.
Correct.
There is uncertainty. The uncertainty is inescapable. I'll tell you what I was looking for in this season. I was looking for whether there was anything in the record which suggests that there's a decline in the underlying numbers for the Indian bowlers. And there are sort of two areas where there is a minor decline, not a lot, but a minor decline. One is the second fast bowler. And part of that has to do with them having a really small role. Now, some of that has to do with the fact that it was like 37 degrees and whatnot and really hot and etc. And there's not much in the wicket for the fast bowlers. Part of that has to do with the fact that, Mohammad Shami is Mohammad Shami and, there isn't another Mohammad Shami. But the other thing is that the Ashwin is overpitching a little more than he used to, and I think it's because he's worried about the sweep. And those two things have a much bigger effect on, the amount of sort of adversity that India can cover, and India have been covering in test matches in India in the last 10 years, and what they have been able to do in 2024. All said and done, they still won 7 and lost 4 test matches in 2024, man. And like out of 11 test matches. So it's not like they're having a bad year. But that is an interesting, and that's something to keep looking out for, because you can be sure, Sid and Ashoka, that, Travis Head and Steve Smith and Manas Labuschagne, these guys are going to sweep and reverse sweep and, step out and, attack the spinners a lot more. I don't think Ashwin is going to bowl 50 overs for 130 runs like he did in 2018 anymore. That world is gone, I think, although that would be something to look out for, for whether, both teams in this upcoming series play the same attacking way. Because, one of the other things is that the sort of the, how should you put it now? The Pujara style player is becoming increasingly an anachronism. And my theory of that is, I think it's because the World Test Championship has made result pitches that much more common. And so the sort of the banker batter who's going to get a good pitch in the first innings as the norm and, bang 100, at least once in a series is also sort of a rarity now.
Basically, time is now, it has no value. 5 days is no value. Once you do it as a 4 day, it's too long.
So that's something to look for.
That's a good point, and something definitely to look for to see how it shapes up in the Australia series. Of course, we will be previewing that series before, and we'll talk more about it. Talk more about what to expect. Always exciting, of course, to watch India Australia, and now the World Test Championship final. Quash of so many teams now in line for it. India with this 3-0 loss, it looks a little difficult for them to make it, but let's not make too many predictions because we know where that can end up. But
Especially
with South
2024.
Africa, especially
What a year
24,
it's been.
South Africa, Bangladesh winning in Pakistan, South Africa winning in Bangladesh, India, New Zealand, Sri Lanka beating New Zealand beating India. My God, this is like all over the place. Now, so South Africa, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Australia, India, everyone in sort of contention there. So let's see how that goes. We'll keep a track of that. Thank you for joining. This has been, as I said, a very different series, something that we're not used to reviewing India losing at home, and never, of course, reviewed India being clean swept at home. I would actually say you should listen from the preview to the end of this series, the 4 podcasts that we did. And it's quite a progression, actually, to where we started and where we ended. But eventually, at the heart of it, we've been making fundamentally the same points. So, hopefully you'll realize that, where we stand on cricket and how we like to analyze it, and how we are slightly different from a lot of the entertainment that Ashoka gets. Ashoka, I'm sure, doesn't listen to our podcast again after editing it because there is zero entertainment in it. So, thank you. 81allout.com is our website. At 81allout is our handle on X. You can send us feedback. Please rate and review the podcast. That really helps. And thank you for those who have been sending in comments via Spotify. We have been, we read those comments, we publish them, and we try and engage with them. Now we can even reply to them. There was a period when we couldn't reply to any of those comments, but now we can, and we'll try as much as possible to reply. So keep in touch. We have republished 3 great cricket books, works of cricket literature. So I'll put links to them. You should pick them up. And as I said, India versus Australia is coming up. Exciting. We'll hopefully have a couple of podcasts to build up, and then we'll be reviewing that series.
They're going to get back for 2. India at home. Lords goes wild.